So something very unusual is happening right now, my friends. This is actually making me very nervous. I'm going to show you what's happening, and then I'll lay out the facts, and you can decide what you think is going to happen. Donald Trump just posted this unconditional surrender, and he's been saber rattling at the Iranians now a number of times. I'll show you all the true socials, and I'll give you all the background. We could very well be at war with Iran very quickly. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not predicting that. And the prediction is a fool's game, but I'm giving you some evidence of what has gone down, and whether it's assisting Israel by allowing them the weapons, or the U.S. at war, or I don't know what. And I'm not given to be I'm not prone to being hyperbolic about things. I'm very measured about what I say. Let me lay out the facts. So here, Trump just posted this about a half hour ago. Unconditional surrender. That's what you see on the thumbnail here. Unconditional surrender. Why? Okay, let's go back to a post 35 minutes ago instead of 32 minutes ago. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's talking about the Ayatollah in Iran. He is an easy target, but it is safe there. We are not going to take him out. That is to kill. Oh, wait a minute. Why are we talking about that? Talking about killing a leader of another nation? Like, that's not a normal thing. And it tends to be against our policy, right? At least for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Now, civilians are being targeted and now not generally, not like the Russians do to Ukrainians, which is bizarre when you look at this war and then you look at the Israeli-Iran war. And when you look at what just happened to Ukraine night over night, all civilian targets, or almost all civilian targets, with 400 plus missiles and drones. And that's not being talked about, but that's a side thing for now. We'll talk about that for going forward. Okay, but we don't want to talk about, we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers, and it looks like American soldiers have been targeted. Our patience is wearing thin, Trump says. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And that tweet, this is on Truth Social. I don't know what you call it, a truth. I'm not inclined to call it that. Truth Social, an hour ago, Donald Trump posted out, look at this word, we means you and I, right? A couple of us on the same side. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. What? You mean Israel does, or we do? Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Okay. So what is Trump saying? Like, Trump has spent his entire political career saying we shouldn't have been in Iraq and we shouldn't have been in Afghanistan, and we just want peace. And even though Russia's the aggressor and Ukraine is the victim, we just want both sides to come to peace. And this is a very different tone coming from Trump. So let's look a little bit lower. And I'm showing you this now because it's a really interesting thing. This is Mike Huckabe. He's the ambassador to Israel, and he posted this. Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I'm showing you this to show you the intensity of how important high-ranking governmental officials see what's about to happen here. Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. Okay, now, if you don't like President Trump, I get that, but that's not the point here. That's not the, I'm not showing you for that reason. The decisions on your shoulders, I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters, his voice, and he's referring to God, I'm sure here. I am your appointed servant in this land, and I am available for you, but do not try to get into your presence often, because I trust your instincts. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 1945. Well, that's kind of ominous. What did Truman have to do in 1945? That was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Okay. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes and ears and voice, and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. It's my honor to serve you, Mike Huckabee. Okay, so there was it a U.S. embassy or a U.S. related consulate or something along those lines that was hit as among other things in Israel? I'm trying to process so much information so quickly, but yeah. So I'm showing you these, including the Truth Social posts with unconditional surrender and others, and we know where the Ayatollah is. Because like, so the other day I went to class. This was last, I guess, Thursday. I went to class in the evening. Just before I went to class, I posted this: Middle East crisis, next 72 hours could change everything. And an hour after I posted this, that's when Israel and Iran cooked off. That's where it began. And it feels like we're right on that same kind of cusp of something next level happening again. And then here, last night, we saw this. This was the tweet where Trump left the G7 and put this tweet saying everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Okay, like that's pretty ominous. And then when he got back to the United States, he was going like everybody should be in the White House in the secured bunker, ready room, whatever, like he had assembled his security advisors. So that also is pretty ominous. Okay, I saw this, and I haven't seen the movie, but the G7. He said, reminds me of the 2024 movie Rumors. The movie blurb was leaders of the world's wealthiest democracies gather for the annual G7 summit to draft provisional statement regarding a global crisis, soon become spectacles of incompetence. Well, there was lots of this kind of spectacle thing going around yesterday where Trump left early. He wouldn't sign something, and it was like, what's going on? It's like he's just being disruptive. He was also talking about Russia shouldn't have been removed from the G7 or G8 to make it a G7. And so it was like that kind of circus environment. Okay, here's the G7 statement. And it wasn't really bad. Like I looked at it, and I was very concerned about that because, like, okay, what's in this statement? Is it condemning Israel or something? That's not what it was. We, the leaders of the G7, reiterate our commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. In this context, we affirm that Israel has a right to defend itself. We reiterate our support for the security of Israel. We also affirm the importance of the protection of civilians. Iran is the principal source of regional instability and tea. We have been consistently clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We urge that the resolution of the Iranian crisis leads to a broader de-escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, including a ceasefire in Gaza. We will remain vigilant to the implications for the international energy markets and stand ready to coordinate, including with like-minded partners, to safeguard market stability. So it wasn't that bad of a statement, but part of the rumor was that Trump was leaving because he didn't want to sign that statement. Okay. And then you saw things like this. Chancellor Merkel praised Israel's actions against Iran, calling them the dirty work Israel is doing for all of us. Speaking to ZDF, he stressed that Tehran's regime enabled tea worldwide and said that the West owes Israel respect for its decisive steps. So that was happening. And usually when Israel does something, the UN kind of condemns it, gets together and says, bad Israel, you shouldn't do that. Like what happened 40 years ago when they did this to Iraq. And then President Zelensky arrived at the G7 summit in Canada. Trump was already gone. He was hoping to talk to him about air defense. That ship has sailed. But all the focus now is on what's going on with Israel and Iran rather than what's going on with Russia, who has just been pummeling, my very last video I was talking about, pummeling Ukraine and Kyiv particularly overnight with 400 some odd drones and missiles. Okay, so where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us in a state of something feels like it's about to happen. If it does, I may very well go live, maybe with Greg. We'll go live and talk about like what's going on. So be looking forward to seeing what's happening. I'll either update you in 3 big stories or with something like that. It seems, this is a funny quote, it seems like the next worst thing after being Russia's enemy is being Russia's ally, that is, Iran. The Israel-Iran conflict is rocking the regime in Tehran, and Moscow is sitting idly by. That's right, they are. They're not really doing anything to help them. Maybe they're overextended. Maybe they just don't want to help them. Maybe they're cutting their losses. But this is going to be a big loss for Russia when this is all said and done. And honestly, this could turn into a color revolution. I don't know. I think either you should call it the purple or pink one. I'm not sure which one is going to be more repugnant to the Ayatollah, but it's very possible that something like that could happen as well. And I'm not predicting. I'm saying like there is a desire within Iran to throw off this regime as well because of all the crackdowns over the last year and a half, 2 years. So, okay, that's where we are. I'll bring you more when we have it. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person who cares about the world we live in.